All right, welcome to Graphing Linear Equations Part 2. We are going to finish up doing a couple examples of these, and then we're going to switch to determining the equation based on the graph. All right, so we talked about when you have an equation where you do not have one of the variables completely isolated, you need to rework the problem so that you can solve for either x or y. In this case, we were able to rework our original expression, which is what you should have written under your original expression, to y equals 3x plus 2. We're going to insert our expression into the table, and then we're going to look at solving. What you're going to notice here is we now have a 4-quadrant table. With a 4-quadrant table, you can choose many more choices for x. So for example, I'm going to do -3, 1/2, 7, and well, let's not do 7. Let's do 2 and -5. Okay? I want you to go ahead and complete the table. When you complete the table, come back and check the table, and then we'll do the graphing in the next step. Okay, so when your table is filled out, you should have had the coordinates -3, -10, 1/2, -1/2, 2, 4, -5, and -17. And I can see right away that I'm not going to be able to graph -17 because I only have 10 points in each quadrant. So that one I'm not going to do. Okay, I want you to pause the video, graph your points, draw your line. Now remember, the check is to see if your line is straight. All right, so I plotted my points, and now I'm going to check to see if my line is straight. So I'm going to draw my line from here to here. And I can see that my line runs through all 3 of my points. So I now am able to graph y plus 2 equals 3x. All right, so let's look at this problem. I want you to do step 1 and come back and check and see if you were able to figure out what to do next. What you should have noticed right away is that you needed to isolate one of the variables on one side. And since y does not have a coefficient, I chose to isolate y by subtracting 4x from both sides. And now my equation that I can graph is y equals 8 minus 4x. All right, so we are going to put some values in for x. I'm going to have you use 0, -2, 3, and let's do -4.5. All right, go ahead and finish filling out the chart and come back and check your table. Okay, with filling out the chart, the first thing I noticed is that, well, first of all, you have 0, 8, -2, 16, 3, -4, 4.5, and 26. I'm noticing that I can't graph those 2 points. Now I want to be able to connect at least 3 points to make my number valid. And I can see as I go negative, my values for y are getting too large. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one more, and I'm going to do 4. And just see if x is 4, I would have y equals 8 minus 4 times 4. And if I have 8 minus 4 times 4, that's 16. 8 minus 16 is -8. And I can do -8. So my next one I'm going to do is 4, -8. So go ahead and graph the ones you can. And let's check and see, then come back and see if your graph looks correct. All right, so I graph my points. Here I have 0, 8. Here I have 3, -4. And down here I have 4, -8. So let's go ahead and connect our points. I'm going to start here and draw through there. Whoop, and I see I have a little problem. So now I'm going to go back through, and I'm going to have to review what I did. So I want you to go back through, if you have the same things, review what you did, and let's see if we can find the error. All right, going back through it, if you were able to find my mistake, maybe you didn't make the mistake. I don't have this one on the graph correctly. I have actually done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, -8. So what I would need to do is go back through. Oops, I wanted to cut, not copy. Erase my mistake. Redo my line, making sure that I'm at 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. And connect my points this time and see if it worked. And this time it worked. So as you can see, by making sure you do at least 3 points that you can connect on your coordinate grid, you can make sure you're right. Now, had I only done 2, I never would have realized that I was graphing it wrong. So you want to have the 3 points on the grid. And when you're off, go back and find your mistake, just like I did. All right, one more. Go ahead and do this one. I want you to do the entire problem, work the whole thing out on your sheet, and then we will come back and check. All right, so I went ahead and I graphed my 4 points. And I realized when I did the first 3, I kind of guesstimated where 212 was because 12 is off my grid. And I decided I wanted to do one more just to make sure I'm right. So I threw in -2 because I wanted to have one more down in that bottom quadrant. So now I'm going to connect my line, and I'm going to use the lines that I have, connect my first to my last, and they connect, so I know that I have graphed it correctly. All right, we are going to stop here for part 2. Part 3 will be making the equation based off the graph.